We have to properly educate our children. Black children right now, this millennial generation, is the most lost generation of black people ever. And the only way we're going to save them is if we create a revolutionary African pedagogy along with a revolutionary African curriculum. If black people do not win the war of the 21st century, there may be no black people in America after the 21st century.
Why do you feel so many black folk get very upset when they hear another black person say that black people should be married to black people? What do you think that's about, you being a psychologist?
I would say the first reason is due to the fact that we are in love with integration. Black people have been in a 152-year-old struggle to get accepted by their oppressor. So we want to be accepted by white folk. And we see interracial marriage as one of the most effective means of bringing about that amalgamation. So that's number one. Number two, with the presidency of Barack Obama, we have been drafted into an illusion of inclusion mindset that basically says America is post-racial and colorblind, despite all the evidence to the contrary. And because we love being asleep within this myth of a America that accepts black people, we don't want anyone to wake us up to the reality that we are, in fact, not Americans, nor will we ever be. And so basically what I did was I scratched a very delicate and insecure place within the black psyche by demanding that black men need to be with black women. It's something that we don't want to hear, although we need to hear it because we've been asleep too long on the integrationist Kool-Aid.
Now, of course, Roland had brought up a very interesting point, and I'm going to have to ask you this because other folks have asked this. How would you respond to, of course, as was mentioned, Frederick Douglass, but more modern, prominent black figures such as Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, who have felt very obligated to help the black community, but they have white wives. What is your thoughts on that? When someone would say, well, how do you respond to them? Because well,
as I told Roland, I didn't say I couldn't respect them, but I said I would have a difficult time respecting them, meaning I would need to hear each brother's argument. But to be honest with you, even in the end, I think it would be still difficult for me to respect a black man who settles down with a black woman but claims to be committed to our struggle. It's an oxymoron. You can't be for Team A and be married to Team B. It just doesn't make sense. When you marry a white woman, you invest in her, you commit to her, but not only her, you commit to her community, her family, and her legacy. So it's still a contradiction. Frederick Douglass also has to be held accountable, but I wouldn't put him in the same category as a Harry Belafonte, a Sidney Poitier, a Vernon Jordan, because Frederick Douglass' history of struggle is a lot more rich, deep, and long-lasting than theirs. Frederick Douglass married that white woman. He was an old man. His first wife, Queen Mother Annie Murray Douglass, a blue, black, purple, chocolate, nappy-headed woman from whom all of Frederick Douglass's 5 children were born. It wasn't until after she died, while he was an old man, that he married a white woman, which is something people don't discuss. But he must still be criticized on those grounds. Here's the situation. 3 things we got to do if we're going to survive this century. Number 1, we got to have an economic revolution. A total revolution where we divest of all non-African institutions, corporations, businesses, and systems and invest in ourselves. It can't be a boycott. A boycott says, I'm going to stop shopping until you treat me better. We don't need that. We need a divestment. All the money stays with us. That's number 1. Economic revolution. Number 2, you got to have a psychological revolution. Black people have to be sold back to themselves, as Marcus Garvey said. We have to reawaken the sleeping consciousness of African people towards a commitment to themselves. We're committed to everything but ourselves. Homosexuality, multiculturalism, women's rights, feminism, this, that. Where's the black agenda? Where's the black imperative? Where's the black mandate? That's what we need to do. And number 3, we have to properly educate our children. Black children right now, this millennial generation, is the most lost generation of black people ever. And the only way we're going to save them is if we create a revolutionary African pedagogy along with a revolutionary African curriculum. If black people do not win the war of the 21st century, there may be no black people in America after the 21st century. Black people need to start asking the elected representatives the right questions, because we're not asking. We keep asking these open-ended questions. What are you going to do for us? We can't be general. We got to be specific. What are you going to do to increase black people's access to wealth in their communities. It is our lack of access to wealth that keeps us trailing every other race for political economic infrastructure. We need the $1 billion loans. We need the $1 million loans. We need the $100,000 loans. We're not getting them. Chinese are, Arabs are, East Indians are, Latinos are, Mexicans are, Jews are. We're not. So how is the black candidate going to help black people access wealth in large quantity? Number two, what are you going to do to reduce, control, and eliminate the white take-back of the black community? The gentrification is in full swing. We're dealing with an ethnic cleansing of black people from the inner cities of America. What are our black elected officials going to do about stopping the white land grab in the black ghetto? That's number two. Number three, what are you going to do systematically to reduce the high prison rate of African American men and women? Okay? What are you going to do to stop our brothers and sisters from having to commit crime so they go to jail in the first place? What are you going to do about the unfair sentencing disparities on the state level as well as on the federal level? And then also for our children, what are you going to do to promote community control of the public schools, blame black male teachers, black male principals, and do something about the dismally high rates of special ed, ADHD, and black male exposure? If I don't get positive answers to those questions, I will not be casting a vote for anybody.
I want to know why black people in this generation, the 21st century Negro, that's what we talk about, from the year 2000 to 2023, the 21st century Negro, what did we do so great that makes us feel we have a right to be the stewards of the compensation package that's going to be given out for our ancestors? What did we do that makes us so responsible that of all the 20 generations of black people who lived in this country since 1619, we should be the ones to oversee the reparations process? I would argue that we have no right at all to be arguing that we should be the ones to distribute that package or to debate that package, because we've done nothing to show that we will be responsible for it.